versus
Okay, so in this segment, we pit two things against each other, and then we debate who will win in the verses.
As they square off, head to head, fist to fist.
So the first
knee to groin.
The first one is, who will get more points this season? We have Lindholm
versus
Matthew Tkachuk.
Okay. And his points, you ask?
Points, yes.
All right, then I'll say Lindholm for sure.
You think he'll get more overall points?
Overall points, assuming he plays on the line with Goudreau Monahan still.
Make no assumptions.
No, because of that fact, he has more of a chance. And another question would be more goals, and that I think it could be even tighter race. I think both of them are shooting well. See, where a lot of the Flames are struggling with getting the puck in the net, these two seem to be the one putting their shots on point the most. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. Right now in the season, they're the best shooters.
Yeah.
But I really feel like if you look over career-wise, Tkachuk has just consistently put points on the board where Lindholm gets streaky.
Okay.
And because of that, I'm actually going to say that Tkachuk will get more points.
Who got more points last year? Do you remember?
I do not remember. That's a good question, but that was a career year for Lindholm.
Yeah, and Tkachuk as well.
We got to check that.
It had to be. It was Kachuk's third year. It had to be been his best.
Yeah, I think Tkachuk had more points in the end.
Yeah.
And Lindholm played with the top line.
Yeah, exactly. And because of that, he's going to get more points again this year.
No, but Tkachuk got more points.
No, Lindholm got more points.
Okay, we got to check this. So I have the stats open here.
Let's
Are you
see.
ready for this, Dan? Lindholm had 78 points last season.
Mm-hmm.
Tkachuk, 77.
Goals?
Let me see here. Goals, 27 for Lindholm, 34 for Tkachuk.
Oh, yeah. Okay, beat him in the goals.
So this is going to be a tight race, I
Yeah,
think.
it's good versus.
A very good versus. Yeah, let's go for the next one.
Next one. All right. The better coach. Is it Peters?
versus
Gullison?
I know my view might be a little controversial here.
How so, Nate?
I'm not a big fan of Peters. I really don't think he's that great of coach. And I feel Gullitson is underrated. Like, we have a better team now than when Gullitson coached.
Okay.
Like, he didn't have Lindholm, he didn't have Hannafin, and he had Tkachuk when he was young. Not the same Tkachuk that plays now.
No.
So, can I say draw? Like, these two guys go bare-knuckle boxing in the ring, and they both leave bloodied. Like, it's really
There's never
tight.
been a draw versus.
If I'm forced to pick, I'm going to give just slight edge to Gullitson. I think he's underrated as a coach.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
He's back an assistant. You think you'll see him as head coach again in the future?
I don't, but I don't think I'll see Peters as a head coach again either. And hair-wise, Gullitson had the best hair on the bench.
What was his nickname from the common board last year? Or
Howdy doody.
Howdy Doody. Was good. I didn't mind Peters up until this year. I think Peters did all right to even the Flame slump last year, but this year it seems like there's friction. It seems like, I don't know, there's not so much cooperation going between the team and the coach, but shit, man, how could you know that? This is just what we can, or I can surmise by watching the play, watching the team respond to what Peters does, and pretty much what he does is switch up the lines.
Yeah, shuffling the lines, and, last year might have been like a honeymoon phase for Peters.
Yeah, and because Gullitson had one too.
And
Seems like every coach does well their first year.
Exactly. And the other thing to take into account when you've analyzed Peters is you do have 4 or 5 seasons with Carolina where he never made the playoffs.
The biggest thing that comes to mind was him not putting in Talbot versus Jersey. That seemed like just a strange call.
An odd decision, yeah.
An odd decision.
It was, but I've also heard the argument that points are so hard to get in the NHL that when you have like a layup, you just take it. So maybe it was a smart coaching move as well to get those guaranteed too.
I don't know. For me as a fan, the players have a lot to say about how I'll feel about the coach. The Flames start playing good, and I'll be like, yeah, Pierce is all good to me, baby. So it's really up to them how people will feel about the coach.
That's true. There is that saying, coach is only as good as the players he has. So,
yeah.
But, yeah, I don't think there's a huge difference between either of the coaches. So, it's a very close versus as well.
Yeah.
Very tight to pick.
Oh, well, I'll just say, I'll take Peters.
And I'll take Gultson.
But that is very bloody for sure.
Okay, our next versus. So this has to do with the style of overall NHL hockey. Was hockey better to watch in the 1980s
versus
present day?
There's definitely going to be some recency bias here, seeing as I wasn't watching too much hockey in the 80s. But I remember the clips of Rock'em Sock'em. That was probably some of the old hockey I watched.
I think that was the 90s.
Yeah, no. I'm sure it started in the late 80s.
Maybe late 80s, yeah.
Shit. But I'll tell you what you won't see in hockey from the 80s. Lacrosse move from behind the net. Some of the shots between the legs, top corner. Some of the dekes. Very rare. Wayne Gretzky was the first to really show how you can skate around players.
I'll tell you.
Maybe, to be honest, I don't know that. Hockey's been played for a very long time.
I'll tell you what you can't see in the present day. Bench clearing brawl. The goalie two-handing a player who's standing in front of the net.
Blood on the ice. Some missing teeth.
8-7 scores.
Yeah.
I'm if I'm going to vote, I'm going 80s. It was just the randomness was so much more entertaining than today, where everything is like video replay, every rink is the same, everything gets captured on film.
Shit, it's a business, man. This is the world we live in.
Yeah, but it's an entertainment business. I remember watching games late 80s, early 90s, when the ref missed a call or the ref missed a goal. Like the puck would go in the net and come out and the ref would miss it. You would get so frustrated. You'd get so into the game. Now it's like, shit, like, oh, who cares? They're going to catch it on replay.
So it's the video, it's the technology side of the game that you miss, or why you like the 80s?
Part of the reason. But also the porous defense.
Yeah, okay.
The goalies, like, they couldn't stop the puck.
Sprawling goalies, yeah.
And just the sheer randomness, like, the fact that it was less regulated, you just didn't know what would happen every night. Now you have to admit a lot of games look the same.
True, but I question how much hockey you've watched from the 80s.
I've seen some. Do me a favor. Download one of the classic games from the 80s and see what happened back then. And I agree with you. The skill level is way better now. But the entertainment value is not as high as it once was.
But one aspect of that is some of the violence that was going on there that just doesn't fly in this day and age.
Yeah, it's definitely changed a lot. I watched one game. It was probably from early 80s, and it was Montreal versus Quebec in the playoffs. And I guess at intermission, when the Zamboni was done, both teams would go and skate on the ice before the period started. And a team
warm up.
Like, they'd re-warm up in between each period.
Yeah.
Not with pucks, but just, go for a skate around the ice.
Before the puck drop.
Yeah.
It still happens.
Well, now it's like most players stay on the bench and only the starting lineup.
Okay. Yeah.
This was the whole team would go
the whole team does it.
Yeah, it does a quick skate, returns to the bench. And between the first and second, there was a team-on-team brawl.
some hatred going on there.
Yes. Like, if you get a chance to watch that, I can't remember. I think it was Game 6 in 1982 or something, Montreal, Quebec. I might have the year wrong, but if you get a chance to watch it, it's just unbelievably entertaining. Okay, let's do the next verses.
I like it, though. It was a good one, too.
Okay.
All right. More enjoyable crash and burn. Is it Toronto
versus
Edmonton? Now, what I mean is, who would you rather see fail?
Yeah.
Who would be a more enjoyable sight to watch the demise of? More of a tantalizing failure.
This is also a bloody match in the dojo, because I really want to see both of them fail. On the one hand, you have Toronto, who thinks they're a Stanley Cup contender. They're doing okay, a bit inconsistent. They have some small problems now. But if they miss the playoffs, it'll be mayhem. And the media is so focused on them that it's like the Hindenburg crashing. Where Edmonton, just seeing like how excited they are for the start of this season and having their hopes and dreams crushed again. It's a tough decision. But I'm a fan of the spectacle, and I think I kind of want to see McDavid in the playoffs, even though I don't like Edmonton.
Oh, man. Did you see that last goal of the hat trick against San Jose?
Colorado.
Colorado.
Yeah. So I think because of the McDavid factor, wanting to see him in the playoffs, I would rather see Toronto crash and burn and have the media just create this giant circus around them.
Media circus, they'd be enjoyable, but because of the new acquisitions on Edmonton, such of James Neal and Smith, I'll admit I like Smith, but I also like to see him fail, because we both know how dramatic he can get, how emotional on the ice.
That's an excellent point, because you know how much I dislike Mike Smith.
And I'm never going to forgive James Neal for having his worst year when being with Calgary. I'm never going to let that down.
You don't forgive or forget.
So, media spectacle, but like, it'd be nice if... I hate that Toronto media spectacle. If they just like... If Toronto just plays average, they're not great, but not bad, so the media kind of shies their cameras elsewhere. That'd be better. Edmonton, you're going down.
Okay, the next verse is, which player is more likely to be traded this season? Is it Michael Frolik
versus
Jankowski?
Mark Jankowski.
Yeah, Mark Jankowski. Mike or Mark?
Double M. The two M's here. Both have, feels like somewhat of a high likelihood. But I think Frolik's on his last year of his contract. I see him playing through to the end of his contract. He's a better player, too. Jankowski, man, these are both players that I really like and I really want to do well. And Jankowski was trending in the right direction last year, but it's just not happening for him this year, and I don't see him lasting long because of it. So I'd pick Jankowski.
Yeah, I'm probably leaning towards Jankowski too, just because Frolik's contract is a fairly big cap hit. I think he's making 4.25 or
he's
something.
on his last year though.
Right, but if a team trades for him, they have to have that much cap room.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of teams are close to the cap. Yeah. Where Jankowski, I think he's only making $700,000 or $1 million, so teams can just absorb it easier. And there's more upside on Jankowski. He's a younger player.
Yeah.
So there's probably a better chance to trade him. So just for that reason, I think if someone does get traded,
that really is the best reason to say. You're right. I think for Leak on 4, it's around $4 million. Yeah, I don't see anyone else picking him up.
No, you have to have that much space.
To have that much space.
A lot of teams just don't have it. So
yeah.
Okay, last.